All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack one of the most incredible and honestly totally overlooked stories of pure courage and resilience you'll probably ever come across. We are looking at the story of Jotham. You know, history is just packed with famous heroes winning massive battles, but Jotham, he stands out for a completely different reason. Today, we're exploring his story as an absolute masterclass in how to speak truth through trauma. We're going to see how, right in the middle of unimaginable betrayal and injustice, wisdom can actually still find a voice.
To get started, I want you to step directly into Jotham's shoes for a second. If your entire family was betrayed and murdered, would you speak up? It's a really heavy question, isn't it? Honestly, faced with that level of catastrophic heartbreak, most of us would be completely overwhelmed by anger, bitterness, or just a very understandable sense of hopelessness. We'd have every reason to just disappear, to hide in our grief. You're faced with this monumental choice. Do you stay silent in fear, or do you somehow find the courage to speak the truth? Jotham had to make that exact choice. And to really understand the weight of his choice, we have to look at the massive scale of this tragedy. 70. That is the number of brothers Jotham lost in a single brutal day. Literally 70 brothers. Jotham was the youngest son of Gideon, a guy who had immense blessing and influence. But after Gideon died, his vast family was just ripped apart. I mean, imagine the sheer crushing grief of losing 70 family members all at once. It's a scale of betrayal that's almost impossible to even wrap your head around.
Section 1. A path of violence. Abimelech's rise. So to really grasp what happened here, we've got to look at the man responsible for the massacre, Abimelech. He was also a son of Gideon, but after their dad died, Abimelech got utterly consumed by selfish ambition. Instead of earning leadership the right way, through honor, character, service, he chose a very different path. And it's actually fascinating to see exactly how calculated his rise to power was. He didn't just snap one day. This was a methodical path of violence. First, he manipulates the leaders of Shechem to support his bid for king. Second, once he has their nod, he secures the financial backing. Third, he uses that cash to hire a bunch of reckless, ruthless men to do his bidding. And finally, step 4, he executes this horrific plan, murdering his 70 brothers on a single stone. It was a shocking, calculated act of cruelty, designed to completely wipe out absolutely anyone who might challenge his claim to power.
But right in the middle of this horrific slaughter, Abimelech made one miscalculation. Jotham survived. He survived by hiding. He was the sole survivor. Now, carrying this unbelievable grief, and with the very real threat of Abimelech's assassins still looming out there, Jotham could have easily just stayed hidden. But instead of letting his pain, and let's be real, his entirely justified fear, silence him, he chose a completely different response. He actually used his wisdom to confront the wrongdoing.
Section 2. The Parable of the Trees, Speaking Truth to Power.
So while the people of Shechem are busy celebrating Abimelech's bloody rise to power, Jotham does something incredibly brave. He climbs Mount Gerizim. Standing at a safe distance from this corrupt party happening below, he calls out to them. He raises his voice and delivers this remarkable, biting parable about trees trying to choose a king. And Jotham's story sets up a really stark contrast. On one side, you've got the fruitful trees, specifically an olive tree, a fig tree, and a vine. These represent value, productivity, and life-giving qualities. On the flip side of this comparison, you have the completely useless thorn bush. Let's look at exactly what happens when the trees of the forest go looking for a leader. The absolutely crucial point here is how these trees respond to the offer of power. They approach the olive tree first, asking it to reign over them. And its response? It refused. Why? Because it didn't want to abandon its valuable purpose of producing oil. Next, they go to the fig tree. Again, it refused. It's not going to give up its sweet fruit. Finally, they ask the vine, and just like the others, it refused, choosing to keep providing wine that brings joy. See the pattern? All the useful, productive trees declined the offer of ultimate power. They just flat out refused to abandon their valuable serving purposes. Well, having been rejected by all the fruitful trees, they finally turn to the thorn bush. And the thorn bush, it eagerly accepts. Listen to what it says. "Come and take refuge in my shade, but if not, let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon." I mean, it's a completely impossible promise. Everyone listening knew a thorn bush can't provide protection or shade. It's way too small and way too prickly for that. But you know what it can do? It can catch fire really easily and destroy literally everything around it, even the mighty cedars.
Section 3. Decoding the thorn bush. Character versus convenience. Let's decode this metaphor for a second, because Jotham definitely wasn't just telling a cute bedtime story here. He was completely dismantling Abimelech's character. The useful trees in the parable, they represent honorable, serving leaders. Leaders who actually focus on adding value to others instead of just blindly chasing power. The thorn bush obviously represents Abimelech. It's the picture of his selfish, empty ambition. The useful trees said no to authority because they valued their true purpose. The worthless thorn bush grabbed it because it had absolutely nothing else to offer. Through this brilliant, simple story, Jotham was exposing a super painful truth to his audience. The people of Shechem had chosen a destructive leader. They picked a ruler based purely on convenience and personal interest and completely ignored his total lack of character. They rewarded wickedness, supported violence, and embraced ambition over integrity. Jotham was basically holding a giant mirror up to their foolishness. And he didn't stop at just exposing them. He warned them about the inevitable outcome. Violence consumes both sides and destruction follows. And you know what? His words were entirely prophetic. As history unfolded, a massive conflict eventually erupted between Abimelech and the very people of Shechem who had funded and supported him in the first place. They ended up destroying each other. The consequences of their choices became undeniable, exactly like the thorn bush promising fire. Section 4. Finding wisdom in pain. Lessons for today. So what makes this moment so profoundly inspiring isn't just the political savvy of the parable. It's the condition of the man who spoke it. This historical narrative has some really deep psychological applications for our own lives right now. Because what brings us to the absolute core of this explainer is this. Jotham was not speaking from comfort. He was speaking from heartbreak. He wasn't delivering some neat and tidy message after getting justice. He was delivering it while the injustice remained entirely unresolved. The massacre of his 70 brothers had literally just happened. His wounds were completely fresh. Yet his immense pain didn't stop him from standing up and speaking the truth. And this challenges something so many of us believe today. I like to call it the healing myth. It's this idea that you have to wait until your struggles are completely over, until you are 100% fully healed before you can help someone else or speak the truth. We kind of trick ourselves into thinking wisdom only comes after the pain is totally gone. But Jotham completely shatters this myth. His example proves that suffering absolutely does not disqualify you from making a difference. Let's synthesize all of this into 4 key takeaways. First, like we just talked about, your pain does not disqualify you from speaking truth. Second, your difficult experiences and hardships can actually sharpen your understanding. Honestly, some of the most powerful insights in the world come from people enduring hardship. Third, looking back at those trees, we see that true leaders are defined by their willingness to serve and produce good fruit, not by some desperate hunger for power. And finally, courage. Wisdom doesn't require a position of power. Sometimes it just requires the courage to stand up and speak when everyone else is quiet, even if you're standing totally alone on a mountain. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. If you've ever experienced betrayal, disappointment, or just a really deep injustice, your pain does not have to define you, and it certainly doesn't have to silence you. So I'm gonna leave you with this question to chew on. Will you let your pain silence you, or will it become your wisdom? Just like Jotham, you have the choice to choose courage over fear. The runes you're carrying right now, they might just become the exact source of insight that helps someone else find a better path. Thank you so much for walking through this explainer with me today. Keep seeking truth, keep choosing courage, and I'll see you next time.